In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to modify a unit within the library to something that isn't in the library that you may require for a job. Now, I'm not going to get into all of the math, but you will need to work out the math before you do this. Let's say I wanted a suspended tower with 3 drawers and a wire basket on the bottom. Now, whenever you're going to put in a wire basket, you need to choose a unit that has the amount of drawers that you want and substituting one of those drawers for the wire baskets. So let's say I wanted 3 drawers and 1 basket. So I'm going to use the regular height units, and let's go to large kick. And so I'm going to look for the tower with 4 medium drawers. Let's put that on our wall. When modifying units, I find it much easier to switch over from imperial measurements to metric. And so I'm going to go ahead and do that. So let's switch from inches to millimeters. And if I double click on this unit to get my change unit dialog window, I can see that the height of my gables are 2195 millimeters. Now, I'm going to keep the same height, but because it's a suspended tower, I'm going to modify some of this. And the way to do that is, let's take off the kick first. And the kick is 160 millimeters, so I'm going to zero that out. And I want to have this tower sitting above the floor by about 12 inches. So in millimeters, 12 inches is 304.8. But if you look on your gable length chart, the closest gable that would work is actually 1907. So that's a difference of 288 millimeters. So like I say, I'm not going to get into how I've calculated this. But you will need to take a look at that. So let's change this from 2195 mils to 1907 millimeters. And because I took off the kick, which was 160 millimeters, I still need to take off about another 128 millimeters. Otherwise, this unit won't be sitting correctly at the proper height. So to do that, I need to take it off the top opening. And so I'm going to go down here to the top door. And if you notice, it's 1117. So if I take off 128 mils that's left over, I'll end up with 989. And then the top opening height, which is right at the bottom here, says it's 1101. So 1101. Again, I'm going to need to take off that 128 mils, and that's 973. And I'm going to go ahead and just press OK, and you're going to notice that the unit is now sitting on the floor. And that's because I didn't put in how high I want this unit sitting off. So let's open up change unit again, and off floor we determined that it's going to be 288 millimeters. That was the closest we could get to the 12 inches. And there we have the unit now. We've shrunk the top opening, and we've left all the drawer sizes correct. If you wanted to have a medium drawer, or sorry, one of the medium drawers, a small or extra small drawer instead, then you'd have to take that amount off the drawer face and add it to the top opening. So you'd make the top opening a bit bigger, you'd make the drawer a bit smaller. But I'm not going to get into that at this point. Let's go ahead and replace the bottom drawer with a basket. So I'm going to close this window, and to do that, just hold down the control key, and you'll notice that the mouse turns into a door, and click on that bottom drawer about 3 times, and that bottom drawer will disappear. Now, if you look, you can see that there's the fixed shelf located on the bottom, and that may not look very good when you're doing that. So let's get rid of that. So again, I'm going to open up the change unit window and go to the bottom shelf and put that on 0 and click OK, and now that disappears. To add in a basket, we need to scroll down in our library and go to Closet Accessories and Wire Basket, and let's draw that basket in place. Click OK. Now you see it's sitting up quite high, and I don't want it quite that high, so off of floor I'm going to change that to 250 mils, and it's still a little bit high, so let's change that to 200 mils. There we go. So that looks a bit better. The basket's sitting underneath the bottom drawer, and now I'm just going to remove the top because we just want open shelving there. And there we have it. We've got a suspended tower with 3 medium drawers and 1 basket unit. Now, one thing I need to point out, because you took off or deleted the bottom fixed shelf, you will be missing that fixed shelf. So you need to make sure you put one in. And to do that, you'll need to go to Closet Pieces. You'll need to do that manually. And select Fixed Shelf, and then draw in that fixed shelf. In this case it is 609.6, which is 24 inches. And you see it's now sitting just at the bottom of the first drawer. I could put in the proper height, but I'm just going to show you how to drag that down. If you click on top of that component, it turns into a 4-sided arrow. Just drag that down. I want to place it just below my bottom drawer, and you'll get a dialog saying that Unit 3 overlaps Unit 1. Do you want to erase Unit 3? In this case, no, I don't. So just click no. But let's zoom in on that shelf, and you can see that it's overlapping the gable right there. So to adjust this, again, let's just open this component window, and I see that the location is 939.8, and I want to move that over 3/4 of an inch, which is about 19 mils. So that's going to be, in this case, 958.8, and I'm just going to say OK. And OK to that, or no to that, and you can see that the shelf is moved over and it looks good. Now the basket's a little bit high, so I'm just going to move it down a bit, and that looks really good.